Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Advocates Network called for legal document to deal with undocumented migrants traveling to Jamaica's shores. Money Musk Sugar Factory in Clarendon could soon restart operations on the new proposal. And later in sports, action continues in FIFA Women's World Cup. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shane Masters and here are the details. There are more calls this afternoon for councillors to be protected by close protection officers. Opposition leader Mark Golding stressed the need at a tribute service for slain councillor for the South Borough Division in St. Catherine, Ainsley Parkins. The event was held at the Portmore Municipal Corporation this morning.
I would suggest regular risk assessments conducted as to the security risks faced by councillors, and where there are real risks that are known, they should be given protection by the state. This is an important issue, and if anything positive can come out of what happened last Thursday, I'm hoping that it will at least result in a revisiting of the security arrangements for elected officials who are at risk on the ground. Not everybody faces the same level of risk. It depends on the communities they serve and other factors.
An attorney representing Haitian refugees is speaking out days after an application was made for their asylum in Jamaica. The intervention comes following the announcement that preparations were being made for them to be deported.
No destination in mind. They only wanted to flee the hardships of their country. That's according to Marcus Goff, one of the attorneys representing the 37 Haitian migrants who landed in Buff Bay, Portland over a week ago. Speaking on the morning agenda on Power 106 on Monday, Mr. Goff says the migrants have indicated that they want to remain in Jamaica and have expressed relief that Freedom Imagineers has intervened on their behalf. An application for asylum was made on Friday.
Well, what changed was that Miss Elaine took it upon herself to go and visit the person down there with the help of translator, and she was able to clearly get from them their, in fact, true desire, which is to stay, and that they're in fear of returning, and seriously so. You know what I mean? So that is what I think really what changed it, that independently, right. We were able to go and verify this information from them, and then to also thereafter put forward the request to the government on their behalf. And that is what changed, I think, their status as being treated as just any other legal entrant. Two persons now who are seeking asylum and therefore international law squarely kicked in.
The Advocates Network says Haitian migrants coming to Jamaica's shores should be expected, and so arrangements ought to be in place to accommodate them. Co-chair of the organization, Professor Rosalie Hamilton, has dismissed the government's argument that without a request for asylum, the treatment of migrants fleeing the humanitarian crisis in Haiti becomes a legal matter. Professor Hamilton said the group is disappointed that there is not enough sensitivity to the plight of Haitians, especially with Prime Minister Andrew Holness leading the charge to address the challenges now gripping Haiti.
The UN Commissioner for the Refugees, the UNCHR, made it very clear that if these individuals are not eligible for refugee protection, that given the dire situation in Haiti, other arrangements must be put in place, and it includes humanitarian admission. And so the expectation is, whatever that legal process is, there are particular circumstances that Haiti faces now, and there should be at least temporary arrangements put in place until those security challenges in Haiti has ended. I think that's what is on the table.
Halshane Burke, TVJ News.
The National Irrigation Commission, NIC, is exploring several measures to provide well-needed relief for farmers who have been suffering due to the drought. Details were provided at a church service marking the Commission's 36th anniversary. Kerry-Ann Simpson reports.
Farmers are reeling under the effects of the drought. The National Irrigation Commission Limited NIC says it has taken note and will implement projects to improve farmers' access to irrigation. Chief Technical Director in the Ministry of Agriculture, Michelle Parkins, says over 200 hectares of irrigable lands have been identified.
So far, we have been successful in developing and operationalizing over 31,000 hectares, which represent 15% of our overall target.
She provided details of upcoming projects.
We are also in the process of implementing 2 of our larger irrigation projects to date, the Essex Valley Agricultural Development Project and the Southern Plains Agricultural Development Project. The former aims to bring irrigation to 810 hectares of agricultural land in a climate smart and technologically advanced way, while the latter aims to target the communities of Parnassus, right here in Clarendon, and Amity Hall and Bridgepen in St. Catherine.
In the meantime, NIC board member Dr. Horace Charu revealed that the agency is eyeing a new venture. He disclosed that a foreign investor has expressed interest in restarting operations at the Money Musk Sugar Factory in Clarendon and has made a $50 million proposal.
We have an interested party out of India who has 2 sugar factories in India and 1 in Malawi, along with its partners from Guyana, who has 3 rice mills. And they are prepared to put up some $50 million to see if we can get that place down there back in operation.
Carrie Simpson, TVJ News.
With some developed countries embracing the non-traditional meaning of gender, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is expressing concern. He was speaking at a mental health forum in St. James recently. More in this report. Our children must be guarded, as there's now a gender crisis happening in the developed world where people can identify as anything. That's a sentiment by Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. He argues this is a scary time to be alive for adults and children.
It's a much more difficult time to exist now. When people used to run up and down and play dolly house, or cricket, or bat up and catch, or stuck in the mud. You remember them games, eh? Them generation that don't have no one name so anymore. They must see things were happening on the other side of the world, and it is having an impact on them.
In June, Senate Judiciary Committee member Republican Senator John Kennedy questioned the Human Rights Campaign Chief President Kelly Robinson regarding sex and gender, where she told the committee that there was more than 2 genders and 3 sex categories.
Do you think there are more than 2 sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is assigned at birth.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm thoroughly confused. So you're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged.
And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive and the definitions are always growing.
It must be a very, as a child, confusing state of affairs when the typical definition of whether you are a male or a female is now complicated by your being able to be a cat if you want to be a cat, or any other if you want to be any other. And I'm saying it from the perspective that I am confused. Can you imagine this 12-year-old?
It's why the health ministry is pushing for mental wellness, especially among the younger generation.
Because they are now in the stage of learning and formulating their own base understandings. And they can easily be led in a direction that may be difficult for them later on. So I don't come here to judge anyone on the choices they make, but I come to say we must help our young people, our children, to understand implications of choices.
He's also imploring guardians to have an active role in the child's activities while they are online. Over 120 staff of the Noel Holmes Hospital in Hanover have received training for a new baby-friendly area at the facility. During a recent tour of the facility, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says 170 others will also be trained. Dr. Tufton says the initiative aims to give every baby the best start in life by creating a health care environment that supports breastfeeding.
It means retrofitting a section of the hospital to facilitate maternal care in a way that gives mothers a much more comfortable setting for their babies. So things like privacy for breastfeeding, one of those areas, and other things. So it means changing around the room, giving easier access, more privacy screens, comfortable setting with air conditioning, chairs, etc., etc.
Dr. Tufton says the Type C health facility will also get a new operating theatre. This will facilitate C-sections and other minor surgical procedures.
There was an costing done some years ago, but nothing was done. Today, I'm happy to report that we are well advanced in the procurement process. A tedious process, a long process, nevertheless, but we are advanced in the process, which is a commitment that we have made to establishing a proper, fully equipped operating theatre here at Noel Holmes. And I am anticipating between now and the latter part of this year to be in a position to speak more authoritatively around an operating theatre here. Not the minor one that is here, but a more substantial operating theatre.
And it's time for a break here on the Midday News, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie has responded to calls for the Janus Market to be reopened. This comes days after vendors and customers staged a protest outside of the facility. Mr. McKenzie announced the market will go back to its original use. It is currently being leased to the Paul Bogle Foundation, but Mr. McKenzie says the contractual arrangement with the foundation comes to an end next year. He says plans are well advanced to have a fully functional market.
A new design is being prepared once the lease expires. I am expecting the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation to do what is necessary so that the market can be returned to its original use. No further engagement or any other business should start now, tomorrow, or next week on the location. The doors of St. Thomas are being opened. Major constructions are taking place in the parish. The vendors want the market. And to use the words that everybody using, time come for the vendors to go back into the market to ply their trade.
And it's now time for the Business Minute. The transport, storage and communication industry was seen as the most open for investments. Based on the latest business confidence survey for the first and the second quarter combined, 70% of firms in the industry were set to spend on improving the business. The group was followed by tourism and hospitality, with 67% of businesses saying they were open to investing. Of note, 55% of businesses interviewed in that industry were inclined to invest in the first, compared to 80% in the second quarter. The Business Confidence Survey also showed that 63% of farming and agriculture businesses say they were inclined to invest. The category also included mining and quarrying. Further afield, U.S. tech giants could signal an end to the nearly year-long slowdown in their cloud businesses as signs of economic resilience encourage clients to boost technology spending, while a pickup in digital ads will also aid profits. Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon.com and Meta Platforms have this year aggressively integrated artificial intelligence into their products on hopes that it would drive the industry's next growth cycle, but those efforts will take time to pay off. For Amazon, Microsoft and Alphabet, the three biggest players in the cloud market, the April to June quarter is expected to mark another period of dismal growth in the business that has long been a cash cow. Meanwhile, Microsoft Intelligent Cloud is expected to grow at 13.7%, the slowest rate since 2017. And that's it for the Business Minute. Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, the Monetary Council of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union ECCU has approved a proposal to replace the late Queen Elizabeth's image on the Eastern Caribbean currency. Queen Elizabeth II, who died on September 8, 2022, has been on the currency of British overseas territories and former colonies for decades. The ECCU is proposing to replace her image with the ECCU's logo and has begun public consultations which will end in December 2023. The final decision on the new image for the EC currency will be made by February 2024. On the international scene, 11 people have died after the roof of a school gymnasium in northeast China collapsed while it was being used by a girls' volleyball team. Most of the victims are children. Only 8 of the 19 people who were inside the gym survived. Police have detained the bosses at a local construction company. And Spain appears destined for painful political negotiations after Sunday's elections when no single party won enough parliamentary seats to form a government. Prospects for coalition building now remain uncertain. With over 99% of the vote counted, the center-right Partido Popular PP is set to come in first, winning 136 seats. The upstart far-right Vox Party, possible coalition partner to PP, is forecast to win 33 seats, while Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's ruling center-left Socialist Party is on course to win 122 seats, with likely coalition partner Sumar at 31 seats. And those are the top regional and international stories. I'm Carrie-Ann Simpson.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, Jordan Ford will have your midday sports report.